Oh my goodness. Welcome back to Gerd a Load of This.
We read Empire of Dragons today by Rachel Schade.
Mm-hmm.
It
Very,
was
very good.
it
Well,
was
at least I think so.
I said it was a non-disappointing YA. How
There
refreshing.
we go. There we go.
The
This,
last I was gonna say the last couple quote YA books I've read have kind of burned me
mm,
because especially like indie specifically because
yeah,
they use YA as like an excuse to have like I guess poor writing or like immature themes but like lackluster themes where it's just kind
yeah.
of blah. And so I was like, because I used to like YA, and I was like, maybe that was because I was simple-minded child. Like I don't know, but no, I definitely enjoyed this one for being a
This
YA.
is, this gave me a reason to love YA again. I don't know. I'm a certified YA lover. That's my preferred genre. Um, so I had a really great time with this one. I thought it was really, really well done for being published in 2021. I think that's like, that's very surprising. Welcome, even, if you will. Also, my cat is sitting on my lap. If you hear, I'm very sorry.
I did not.
Okay.
So we have dual POV,
Mm-hmm.
two girls, young ladies, women. One is 17 and
I
one is
don't think that they.
18.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say they don't really like. They say their name, their age, like really,
Once.
yeah, briefly, and then you kind of like get over it, I
But
guess.
I mean, as a YA, that's what happens. You start off as a young adult, and then the story kind of shapes them into adulthood. Um, so yeah, we have dual POV on opposing sides. One
Yep.
is a new empress come to power because her mother was recently murdered, and the other
Oh,
POV is her mother's murderer. So very, very fun and interesting. Fun as it no, it was a fun read. It was very interesting. It wasn't
yes, it
the
was very
same
well.
old romance dual POV where you just see either
Yes.
side and it's kind of repetitive because you're just seeing the same thing over and over again, and it was very refreshing.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on this book, mainly because I just read it within the last 2 days. Um, I really like the pacing of it, and I thought that it was really well executed between both POVs. So the general idea is, and I really apologize, my cat started to play on her.
It's okay. Mika's eating a bone under my mic.
If it's too loud, let me know and we can we'll figure it out. Um no, the story goes that um Lo, one of our main
Yeah, how
characters,
was it reading a
Gerd,
book where the main character's name is
you
your
know
name?
what? I didn't mind it. I've read a couple books with the name Lo, and this one by far was the best, I think.
It helps when they're not
Um,
like annoying.
that's true. I was really like, yeah, I would do that. Um, no, it starts off Lo is the murderer of our other main character, Jaliana's mom. Whoops. And the kingdom was taken over or recaptured, question mark, by the Forwin, which is a just a completely different race than the Elranians. And the way that they handle like the hatred of these races, like both POVs handle the like hatred of these races so well that you don't know who to root for.
I
Like
really enjoyed that.
I was like, you're telling
They're
me that
both
the
kind of
Iranians are bad. You're
gray.
telling me that the Forwinds are bad. I don't know who to vote for.
it
Like
it
I
very
don't.
much starts off where like you start off with Jay Lee's POV
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, the Forwin are bad. And then you go to Lo's POV and you're
Yeah.
like, the
The
Alranians are
Iranian are
bad.
bad.
And so it
Yep.
was fun to have the both sides. Like I said, this was a fun dual POV, and both sides definitely have wrongs and rights, and so it was like very gray for the most part. It gets less
Mhm.
gray throughout, but it was fun to not just
Yeah.
have the bad guy handed to you, or like
Right. Or
like
have
it just
like
wasn't all
the
handed to you.
the
You got to figure
reigning
it out.
the reigning basically like faction be like, oh, we're rooting for them because they overthrew the enslavers.
Yeah.
But then you're like,
Hmm.
I'm not so sure I'm okay with you guys being this way. So I thought that I don't know, I just really enjoyed the element of like I'm not gonna know who to go for. I like morally gray characters a lot, but I didn't know that I liked morally gray kingdoms. This was not
It's
something I
just
was aware of.
interesting. Like it is. I saw. So I did look at the Goodreads reviews again because I was confused why they're pretty low. I would
Yeah, I
say
got like an average of
8,
3.8. Yeah.
and I think that's pretty low because I actually really enjoyed it. You really enjoyed it,
Yeah, I gave it
and
5 stars, guys.
I
And we all know that 5 stars from low is pretty freaking high.
I gave it a 4 because I think it'll get better. So I'm
Yeah,
saving
yeah,
out for like the
I agree.
5.
I was like teetering on 4.5, or 5, and I was like, let me give it 5 in true
Sleep on it.
in my true colors. In my true colors, if the second book sucks, I always knock it down a step. So
But the reviews, I looked specifically at lower reviews to see what people were
mhm.
like upset about, and it was kind of stupid. Like the one of them was funny, and it was, I think my emotional intelligence is too low to enjoy this book because it is like quite a
Hmm.
mature, like for being YA, it's
Yeah.
pretty maturely written, not in terms of like language or like things that happen, but like there is,
Straight up like social rights issues.
yeah, and it's
Like,
written pretty like, immature has a bad connotation, like it usually means like language and sex. This book doesn't have either of those things. It's just like
no.
an adult can read it and enjoy it. It doesn't feel like it's
Right.
brought down for a
It's
kid's
not
level.
so heady of a fantasy though that you are like drowning in lore or magic system or vernacular. Like I think it was really well written to be fast paced, but also lay a lot down on the page as far as
Right. And like you said, it's like a morally great kingdom. There's just
yeah.
a lot of thinking you have to do as a reader and opinions that you
Yes.
have to
And the
make. It
writer
wasn't all
does
just given
not
to you.
let you sleep for 1 second on like I think I like this person and I think I like this person. The betrayal in this book really did get me. And I don't feel like I've been, you know what? This is so stupid, but honestly, I don't think I've been this betrayed since Hans freaking dumped Anna in Frozen. That, this is what that felt like to me. And
That's what I'm
I would
saying.
just like to say that I, hold on, I have the first time that we are introduced to Casium, for a lack of a better spoiler.
we can
Casium.
spoil.
I have, oh no, no, I
This is
know,
the
but
delve.
Casium, I have him named, I have a note that just says calcium. As soon as I read that name, I was like, calcium. That's who it is.
No.
That's who it is. And I am not wrong. He is milk, and I'm lactose intolerant. So I could not, I couldn't do it. At the end, I was like,
No.
you dirty, dirty little bumpkin. I hate you. Ugh. I'm mad. But it was so well done.
It's interesting. You like Lo, but you don't like her love interest. What are you gonna do?
I think he's a bad guy.
We don't really know though, do we?
Oh, I
Like
didn't hate him during the
it's.
book. I just hate him
You
like.
said the first time you read his name.
No, I just know that his name, like his name, pissed me off. So I was like, I'm not reading that. I'm reading Calcium. That's not my problem. I don't like him towards the end of the book because of what he did, but not, during the middle. I was skeptical. I mean, she kind of puts it right in the palm of her hands, but we don't know what's going to happen until we read the next book. So
I mean, you have to remember 18-year-old nun getting attention from a cute boy who has like
red
same
flags.
ideologies. Like, how could you not just fall into that?
The problem is that I'm weathered. So
that's why I said you got to keep in mind this is not weathered. She is not weathered.
That is correct. That is correct. I know. I really liked. Oh my gosh, I thought that the pacing of both of Lo's and Jaylee's love interests were really good. I was like, oh my gosh, 2 semi slow burn / enemy to lover moments, and they're both so well done. Dude, I would just like to give mad kudos to Rachel for doing 2 really, really well done.
I agree.
Like romance subplots, because I wouldn't even say that they were drawing full attention to that. Like, just really well done.
I agree. I made a note of that as well. I feel like labels weren't slapped on like to hit trope check boxes. It felt natural. It didn't feel like there was a trope being forced or something.
Right.
It was like there was no intentional drama to bring.
Right. There was forced proximity between
it all just felt like
Jaylee and Covey, but I was like, yeah, he's so giddy, like giggling, right? When like the forced proximity thing came around. But then it actually, Rachel kept building on to why it was so necessary for them to be forced proximity. It wasn't like an unnecessary plot line just to fill a trope.
Correct.
Like, it was actually well done and progressed the story as needed, and then obviously progressed their connection. I like both of Lo and Jaylee's internal dialogue was very, very well separated, and you could definitely tell whose POV you were reading or listening to.
Correct.
Very easily, because of like the war inside them for different reasons. And I loved the way that she wrote her, like, Jaylee's internal war with her discovery of this like connection through Covey, and then all of a sudden it's like, you can feel my every emotion, but now I'm feeding you emotions. Like, oh, I was really like taken aback at how well
I agree
this was. Like, I was not expecting it. I was expecting a fun read, but I was like, oh my gosh, do I actually want to live in this world? Not until we figure out all the like classism and racism, but like but I really was very easily immersed.
I agree. I think
fully rooting for both characters in
which
their
is hard.
own fights, because I was like,
sides.
yeah, you go, wait.
I mean, a more clear enemy comes to light at the end, where I think we can root for them together, maybe someday. But no, I agree. I think the biggest thing for me, and I think it's a personal issue with the 4-star, is sometimes development of plot, characters, whatever, kind of lulls for me, and it feels slow to me. But that being said, the internal conflict within themselves really amped it up and kept me intrigued and entertained.
Yeah. So I do feel like there was I feel like there was a moment within the book, and I think maybe it paced better for me because I did listen to it some and then read it some and then listen to the rest of it. I think there was a little bit of lull between Lo and Casey. I'm trying to like go on I want to
Yeah.
say like a cop type ride along. Like it just seemed like we weren't actually getting too much out of that, but then it kind of propelled them being together and her trying to figure out like if she's going to stick with her vows
Yeah.
to her god about like not performing violence or and like figuring out her strength within herself. So there were some lulls with that, but then during reading those chapters, I was like, let's get back to Jaylee.
Well,
Let's
yeah,
figure out
and
what's
then
going on there.
Jaylee has her lulls because she is essentially locked. She's in a dungeon
Yeah,
essentially of her own kind. She's locked in a room, so there's not much she can do there.
with a handsome, dark,
Yep.
foreboding man. It's okay.
I thought that the world itself, like you said, like you just felt immersed. You kind of wanted to go there. I
I
think it
mean, they
was
have
done
dragons
really
flying
well.
around
Because
24/7.
sometimes I am not in the mood for like a high fantasy with a complex world because it just is
Hmm.
like a headache. I don't want to struggle through the first few chapters of world building. Sometimes I'm not in that headspace,
Yeah,
but it was actually interesting and not overly done, but also like done to the extent of immersion and wow, this is
yeah.
cool.
I know what setting I'm in. I know the past, and we can kind of just take the story from there. It really was not
Like they have
overdone.
their own cultures and traditions on each side. Um, and I think it helps a lot in a fantasy series when the first book is one realm specifically and other things are like sprinkled
Yes.
in so that it's
Yes.
like starting to like tickle your brain. So in like the next book, you're like, I remember that place, but like you already have an established something. It's not all dumped on you in the first book.
Right. Right. We weren't visiting more than just the abbey, the castle, a tavern occasionally, and a secret meeting place or an alley. Like it really was. It was like very much contained to both POV's strengths of like describing where they are and making sure that you know. I think that the thing that I really liked the pacing of the lore that was given to us was
Yes.
very much through the lens of the racial disparity between each faction equally being like we don't like you because you do this and very much explaining through Lo and Jaylee what parts of their culture the other culture could not stand and like giving us an idea of what their rituals were, what their like belief systems are through the eyes of I don't like that you do this. This is not right. And I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, that's a nice it's a nice change from just saying like personally this is what Lo is about and this is what Jaylee is about." You're learning about it from each different perspective. I think that was like
Yeah.
really really cool.
Again, it was just like a fun dual POV and not a
Yeah.
like a repetitive dual POV,
Mm-mm. No, I think each chapter really like
which I really
had
really
me coming
like.
back. Yeah. I was very surprised. I'm like so glad we pivoted to this for this week because I was not enjoying the last book that we chose. And this was a definite, let's just say, like 75 steps up from what I put myself through. So I have a couple quotes that I have. We talked separately about both of them having incredible hygiene routines. And in fact, everyone I think pretty much stays washed the entire time, which is nice. Great for them. The most important of those routines being cleaning their teeth. I just trust a main character who has great sense of oral hygiene. That's all I have to say. If I know that you're not like, you know, just got scummy
You
mouth,
highlighted
then
that
yeah, I did.
every time they brush their clean their teeth.
No, I think that they only really say it like once or twice, so I just highlighted it once to bring it up. And then I really like the way that they did Kovi's like powers of controlling people or like compelling. Like it wasn't I don't know. I think I'm just scarred by adult fantasy of it being like something of like a coercion kind of thing, and I don't like that at all. So I was like, he used it once, he used it for a very specific reason,
Just to show you
and
he had it.
just to show you had it. And then he was like, I'll never do it again. Don't worry. And maybe he will use it again, but I don't think it will be. I think it will be necessary the next
Well,
time he
he
uses it.
he didn't use it when I think it was arguably necessary at the end there.
I know, when he could have like just
Although
kept her there,
the dragon still could have
pretty much just
burned
eaten
him
him
for
at
doing
that
it,
point.
but
Yeah. Yeah, I like that he gave her, like, he still has those powers, but he's such a nice person that he
he's
like
a
gives her the
gentleman.
we love a gentleman. Few and far between at this point. But he gave her the autonomy to escape, and I really appreciate that. Even though he was like, I will protect you. I was like, you're gonna let her go? Okay. Fine.
I
Sorry.
I initially was kind of worried when we find out that Lo is a nun. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I don't want to read. Like, I don't. What is this? I don't want to read about this. But I thought it was really well done.
I
I mean,
really take their nunneries as way more of like, I don't even know how to explain what I like akin it to, because it's way less of like a convent than what it is way more like charitable nunship.
I kind of think
Which I think
maybe
maybe nuns are the same way. I just don't
that's true.
I'm not well immersed in that situation.
That's true. It could just be preconceived notions, but I kind of feel like maybe it could be a turnoff for other people, other readers, and that maybe it should have
Mhm.
been like a distinct. Because, like, yes, it is nun like, but also, like, it is very different. Like, I don't know if they could have
I think
made a
it's
different word for it
hmm.
for the sake of the
I think
story.
because all of their I think both equally, both races really cling to their gods more of a like liturgical. Well, even they do penance, so I don't know. I think it was well handled the way that they are, like with the way that the nuns behave, and it was way more hippy dippy than I thought it was gonna
It
be.
was a
I
very
guess
strong
it was
focus
like
on
go out
sisterhood and
into the
helping others.
wilderness and like listen for the voice of our God, and then disappear in the middle of your lessons because like you have the power to
And
do
they
that.
also do like training, like fight training,
Yeah,
so they can
fight
help
training.
others.
Yeah.
And she like goes up
If
to
if that
the.
was the kind of nunnery that I could be admitted to, I
She
would
said, "Sign me
100%.
up."
Oh my gosh, did you like the amount of food that Nana and everybody else was making? I myself love book food. It's like one of my favorite things to read about, and no one quite comes as close as Suzanne Collins for the Hunger Games.
You wanted
But
stale bread?
no, are you kidding me? Did you read the Hunger Games? I want that plum stew with the lamb and the orange slices, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Um, so, barring Suzanne Collins for Hunger Games and the food description, I thought this book made me really hungry. I was like, no, I actually want to eat whatever the nuns got going on. So again, I was also skeptical of us starting out in a convent like sort of situation, but then I was like, I think they know what's going on here. I think they've got it going on, and I think I would like to be a part of that. So maybe I am choosing sides, and it's just with the nuns.
I don't remember her name, but like the head nun,
Nina,
Nana. Okay, sorry.
that's okay.
Um,
I just read it like today.
I really liked her because again,
Oh,
like I was just like I was
yeah.
pessimistic about the whole situation, and Lo kept going to her with things, and she was like, "No judgment, just
Mm-hmm.
no judgment," and it was just,
Skeptical
oh,
on
it's nice.
safety, but
Yeah,
never quite shut her down for doing stuff unless it was like against their religion. Then she was like, maybe you just say an extra a prayer
Well, even then, like,
to help you
it
out with that.
wasn't judgmental. Like, there was no judgment. It was just like, why don't you go think about it over there? Like, there was
Right.
no answer. There was no
It's
like,
not
you
like
have to do
I wouldn't
this.
have done that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I like Nana. I like the other. I didn't. Who was it? I can't think of her name, and I know it's. Oh wait, Pania.
Is her friend, yeah.
Yeah, she got annoying towards the end of the book, but I think she just really cares about her friend and like not getting too mixed up. But
Yeah.
Lo was like, "Hey man, nothing happened, but I can't stay here.
Yeah.
Stay safe."
It's kind of odd.
Yeah, I don't know. It was so interesting how she gave like Lo has kind of I mean, she got her like found family ripped away from her at the end,
Yeah.
but she has a found family in the nuns, and then it's so interesting the way that it was written like that, and then the isolation of Juliana is like so stark
Yeah.
because she doesn't have nobody who likes her at all,
Yeah.
and she just keeps on going around and making some very like I don't know how you couldn't feel that your mom was like the same way when you have just as much anger living inside you. Like, she was not shy about her feelings, how much like she hated everyone and how much she wanted to kill people. But then she really struggled with that in the end of like, I actually don't want to do this. I think that my
Yeah.
hatred's just like been really, really misplaced by the end of it all.
Well, we talk about all of the opposites that they have, but
Mm-hmm.
they both seem to have a darker power within them.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot more explored with Jaylee because she has those dreams and uses
Right.
those
The goddess of
powers.
death.
Yeah, she like
Goddess
has
of
a
death
curse.
visits her.
Yeah. But I think with Lo, it's mentioned like one time because she is saving
Yeah, that she
another
like
Forwyn in the
scares
alley and
the
like
ever loving.
accidentally
Yeah.
shadow scares those men. And then it's like not really mentioned anymore.
Yeah, but I think that that's really obviously most likely intentional. But
No,
I think
yeah,
it's
for sure.
intentional for the story because I don't think that there was meant to be a hero
I think it'll be
at the end of
delved
the
into
story, and we'll
later.
figure out,
But
yeah,
it's just
and we'll
interesting.
figure
Like
out
that's where
later.
the parallel will come in. Likely is that
Right, they both
they
have
have
like
this dark power within them, and it's
mm,
more intriguing to me because it was left unanswered.
right. That's what I'm saying about this plot is like slow burn, enemies to lovers, betrayal, and then so many loose ends. Also, the fact that they never addressed the fact that it was Elroth gets her face burned off by um what's her name? So she was even side plotting. Like Jaylee burns her face. She goes to meet her. She burns her face off because she ends up trying to
Yeah,
attack Jaylee. But then Lo's caravan has no idea where she
correct.
is because she went off on her own to
Yeah,
actually execute Jaylee before they were gonna
yeah.
execute her, and then and then and then a whole nother race of people steps in to take over.
Just when you
Bro,
thought it was a
I'm excited
two
for
two teams, a third one
the
enters.
yeah, I'm so excited for the like playing out of how big is this realm? Who are the forces that are trying to overtake it? Like,
Well,
I'm just all about that.
Did you catch?
Maybe?
It's mentioned in chapter 5, all right, at the beginning.
Lord Almighty.
The Mistorthian is this other
Yeah.
realm. Chapter 5 says the Mistorthian king put a mysterious border around Elrinor
And
two
then it
centuries ago.
disappeared 3 years,
Yeah, completely cutting them off from the world. And the border mysteriously fell 3 years ago,
which was
happenstantially when
when,
Lo killed the Empress.
right.
And that's in chapter 5. And it's not talked about anymore, except for I think Miss Dorothean is like sprinkled maybe here and there.
Yeah, it is like
But
we
that
hear a little bit
whole
about their
thing in
politics
chapter
or
5
their
is just mentioned
customs.
in chapter 5 only. So that's definitely
Yup.
gonna come back.
Yay. Yeah, the like plot points that were really drilled through and then the like loose ends, I thought that was very, very, very well done. Like it had me thinking outside the realm of the page, like the words on the pages
It
of the
wasn't all
book. And
handed to you.
no, and I appreciate that.
I know.
Or in a way, in contrast to some of the books I didn't really fancy this month, it really it gave me what I needed to know so I wasn't so confused. And then I could start to build some sort of like value system based on both, point of views. But at the same time, my values went to shit at the end because I'm like,
What happened?
I don't.
What just
and
happened?
then she has I forget what the spirit guide,
Yeah,
is that what they're
yeah.
called? The spirit guide is now ushering Lo to take care of Jaylee, or not take care of her, like take her out, like take care of her, like try to save her,
Yeah, team up.
team up. And I thought it was very interesting how I think it's the goddess of death who tells you that both gods of, one god of this and one god of that, both gods from each faction are one and the same or working together. I couldn't really piece together what she totally meant by
Yeah.
that when she was like, your god is punishing you for treating them poorly and their god is punishing them for
Yeah.
treating you
Two
poorly,
sides
kind
of
of
a
thing.
coin.
So I can't tell if it's the same freaking god, but I like the idea that they have both forces, both higher powers working to kind of like punish them for what they did to each other, but then also there'll be some sort of hopefully resolution between Jaylee and Lo.
Yeah, it's hard because the Forwin are believers. They're told that they're the chosen people of their god. And that's
But then
exactly what.
so is Jaylee. And
Yeah,
maybe they both are
exactly.
chosen to be
By their
in
respective
unity.
gods.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that it did just enough to tell us kind of what happened before. I think it's interesting that it was like only 3 years. I also think it's super interesting that Jaylee is so secluded that she didn't even know her mom was dead for like,
Yeah.
she says up to like 3/4 of a
She's got
year.
mommy issues. She just
She
locked up.
really does.
Doesn't know her mom was like a mass murderer, and everyone's like, yep, yesterday's news.
And when a love interest is like, you killed my mom. Love it. Terrible, but I love it.
It'll be interesting to see what happens when if and when Jaylee and Lo are like hanging out, and she's like, "By the way, I'm the one that killed your mom."
Yeah, there's like I like that they like don't meet until the end of the book. And they don't even meet.
Yeah, yeah.
So you go this entire time and it's like unsatisfying, but not in a terrible
Well,
way. It's like,
have you?
okay,
I
I'm
don't know.
next.
It might be spoiling to the rest of the series. Have you looked at the other covers? Because I love them,
No.
but have you looked at them? They tell
No.
a story. It's really I love them so much.
Okay. I'm gonna go look them up on Goodreads right now.
Because the first one, is
Is both of them?
definitely clearly Jaylee and Lo. And Jaylee's wearing a gown and a crown. Lo is wearing her like bland nun outfit, and they're facing away from each other.
Yep.
The second book cover is Lo standing next to Calcium, we'll call it,
Calcium.
and they're facing each other. But Lo is in a flowy, shiny dress.
I'm seeing this.
But then there's
Gorgeous.
also octopus tentacles and a water border instead of like leaves.
Oh, well, that rings true with how they said that the seas were kind of like
Yeah.
known to just snatch people. So like krakens were like known
Um,
to be in the sea. He even warns her about that. And then the next,
but yeah, Jaylee's not on the cover of that one. Then the
the
third book is
third one,
Jaylee and Covey next to each other, but Jaylee is wearing pants or like riding
mm-hmm.
leggings, whatever,
And
leather,
there's flames all over the
and
place.
fire. And then the last
Fire.
book is back to Lo and Jaylee, but they're facing each other this time, and they're both wearing fighting attire, flying leathers maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and then like dying branch border.
Both of them, oh, all four of these have, the first one has one dragon
Mm-hmm.
facing to the right. The other one has one facing to the left. And then the last two have two
Mm-hmm.
dragons facing each other.
I'm
I
excited.
liked the dragons in this book.
One of the reviews was like super negative because they picked it up for dragons and they were like, there wasn't enough dragon. It's a setup book, okay? Do you not see where this
But
is
also
going?
they really set it up to be like there are dragons flying around like pigeons.
Yeah. Well,
Like they're
no,
out all the
because they
time. Not
counted
really,
them,
but like
right? Like there was a measurable amount, like
yeah, I don't mean like we're not talking about Burke
herds of them.
second movie here. But what I mean to say is that there are like more than just three, which is
Yeah,
your
yeah.
typical dose of dragons in
There's
any
three
fantasy
chosen ones.
movie. Yeah. So there were more than enough where like they
It's a
each
select
basically
army.
there was like a whole, yeah, there's a whole academy to just be like a writer for one. There's like a whole like, you know, sub faction of dragon riders. So
And I love
I
how
think we'll get a healthy dose of
I
dragons
love
in the next book.
Jaylee being more like brought back to Earth by going up and flying.
Mm-hmm.
Humanized her a bit. I
Yeah, I was
definitely I lost respect for Lo.
as we
Literally,
do.
where was it? I highlighted it. Um,
I was honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I was really rooting for Jaylee way more than Lo, honestly.
this is page 172. Someone
Okay.
offered her a ride home on a dragon. She
And
said,
she said
"No, I
no.
better walk." No,
Yeah, it was I know his name's not Weimer, but
it's
that's what's coming to,
Wilvy.
yeah, definitely not Weimer.
She was
Um,
mad, but like, also, why are you passing up this opportunity?
yeah. Also how she was like, I'm gonna storm to the castle. I'm gonna tell,
Oh, that was
like
very
the fact
spur of
that
the
she was like,
moment.
I just have to do this right now. And they were like, yeah,
I reread that. I was like,
we
wait, we're
know.
going where? What?
Yeah, I did I did too. I like backtracked. I was like, wait.
Where are
She's
we
like,
going?
we're going to the castle right now so I can tell them that people are being burned and staked and just, you know, taken off the street. And they were like, yeah, we actually like have way more issues to take care of
We
than
know.
this
We're not
one.
working on it,
So
but thanks for letting us know.
come back another time. And then she was like, I don't want to ride home on a dragon. Are you kidding me? It'd be too suspicious. Nana already knows everything in your freaking brain.
For sure.
So
She's the
just
smartest person in this book, I'm
just
sure.
take the dragon ride and get over it. I bet she's gonna be like really hard to convince to get on a dragon in the second book. Maybe we'll see. It seems like it might be.
I don't know. I liked that Covey is not about it and like
Yeah.
has to because Jaylee's so about it and they have to stick
Oh,
together.
also, I like that they have harnesses already made for their dragons, and these have buckles and belts and stirrups, so nobody has to worry about being frail and maybe falling off. Also, it didn't seem like the dragons were maybe vastly unproportional to the human beings. That's also really nice.
No, they're I would say they're standard in this book.
Wherever I can put in like really subtle jabs at Fourth Wing, I will.
Okay, but that's because like in Fourth Wing they're like gods, right? Like
I know. I
they're the
know.
freaking they're the
These are
Elrenians.
transportation method dragons, and I understand that, and I respect that. And I'm sorry in advance. I like that Covey is very, very wise and gets ahead of Jay Lee at every turn. Now, do I think that Calcium was is this like a Gale moment where he didn't mean to kill Primrose? Spoilers for her games. Sorry if you haven't read it. It's literally been out for like 15 years. Um, is it one of those things where like people don't believe that he actually meant to kill her? Because I'm secretly on that train. Um, I don't really believe that Gale actually meant to kill Primrose. I think that she just happened to like volunteer to go on to that. Yeah. So anyway, that's my problem, and we'll get there
Is it
eventually.
canon that he meant to?
People read it as like
Yeah, whatever.
he meant to. He meant to, not like kill her, but
so.
he was gonna kill people anyway, like casualty of war kind of thing, and
Yeah.
that's how he justified it. And I was like, well, I think he would have maybe changed his mind a little bit. Anyway, this is not that book. Calcium, I'm still waiting to see what's happening
We don't
there.
know. It ended
Because he
pretty
did try to
abruptly.
stop her and say, like, I'm so sorry. I'm really surprised that he didn't show up the next day. Like, I thought she was going to open the door or whatever, however it ends. I can't remember. It's only been 15 minutes since I read it. That he was going to show up and try to explain himself, but he doesn't. And I'm a little surprised that he didn't chase after her. But maybe then he's trying to figure out what to do with his fellow men that just washed up on shore.
Happenstantially.
And also, the leaders or the elders weren't really like diplomatic.
They kind of suck.
I think that really like hurt them, because how do you not see like an entire invasion of like
I genuinely,
unless they have magic, I don't know.
Maybe I missed it, but we're told that in the spur of the moment, in self-defense, rage, revenge, whatever, Lo murders the Empress.
Yes.
And bada bing, bada boom, they take over. The Four Wind take over. The elders are leaders now.
The way that I read it or like tried to piece it together, I was gonna bring this up earlier. The way that I tried to piece it together was that she killed Lo's brother out of indignation because she could, or she was gonna kill Lo, and then he stepped in front of her. It is like months and months later, after her brother dies, that they stage a coup, from what I remember or could piece together. Maybe I'm so wrong on this. And then she ends up being the person to take.
See, that's not, unless I missed something. I didn't think there was a coup, which is why I was confused. I was like,
yeah, because it wouldn't
all
make
of the
sense
Empress's
for Lo
guards
to kill
still
her.
would have like killed her, and then they still would have
made sense to kill her out of rage for killing her brother. But she says something of like then she made me live with like the next 4 month agonizing pain for like 4 months or something like that.
Yeah, maybe I missed something because I was a little confused how they just took over.
So I am confused about that, but it does seem like it was leading up to some sort of revolution, and it's very interesting because honestly, I think it doesn't like sugarcoat the way that colonization or just like conquering works on people who have been established within a kingdom. Like, they're not just gonna turn around and be so happy that they were basically liberated from a tyrant, even though most people can acknowledge that
that's why
the Empress was pretty tyrannical.
I'm interested to see why the third party has entered, like what their reasoning is.
I agree, because it's almost like I almost expected, what do we call them, the Rothians, was something or other. I almost expected them because we talked about them more, and we know so little about um
Yeah.
I don't remember Terrace Mill, Terrace something or other. I should have done my research or listen better, but I was listening on 2 times speed, so don't at me. Um, Casium's
Yeah,
race,
yeah.
nationality, his people. We hear little to nothing about him and what they're about, like what his culture is for. We just know that he's had a rough life. But how does he become this like inadvertent leader of their rebellion?
He
Like
might not be a leader, just
a door opener?
yeah,
So that
a
even I mean,
spy.
I
He
don't
said he's a
think you can.
spy. So
Yeah,
he
he
can
is
pull
a
that
spy.
I didn't lie.
That's actually so
I told you
correct.
I was a spy.
Yeah, but then that's like more calcium than I want it to be. You know what I mean? We'll find out. But I think it's interesting that we don't know anything about this, and then all of a sudden they're on our shores and they're taking over, and I was like,
Yeah.
no way. And also I was so confused, the like fight sequence or like the chaos, the way that the chaos was written was really well. I truly had no idea what was going on, not because I wasn't listening, because I really didn't know what was going on. I was like, okay,
Ah.
they just opened, so their helmets are coming off, they're dragon keepers, they're killing Forwyn. And then I was like, wait, we shouldn't be killing Forwyn.
We are
We want to
for
be
one.
killing we want to be killing Iranians. Wait. Now we're killing everybody. What the heck is going on? And like, how did Jaylee not know about it if it was an Iranian thing? And then how did the Forwyns not know about it if it was a Forwyn thing? I'm so confused, but like in a good way, and like I want to read more kind of way.
Yeah. I texted you. I was like, I kind of want to start book 2, but I don't have the time for
Don't
that right
do
now.
it. No. We gotta get through September. I think there was a lot of like good. I like highlighted a lot of good quotes. Um, mainly from Jaylee, I think, because she had a lot of good like internal things. And I think, is this her? No, this is Lo. Lo says, I preferred my world black and white, my haven from my the haven from my past of murky gray. I like that. I just prefer it. This and that. Don't do nothing, and I don't want to know about my past anymore.
Side note,
Mm-hmm.
her series are intertwined? Question
Sorry?
mark?
You're looking at Goodreads right now.
Well, okay, right before this, I was looking at the reviews to see why it was rated as it was, because I think it should be higher. And someone had said, like, oh, maybe I'm confused because this is like a prequel or a continuation of her other series. And I was like, huh?
Oh,
And I am
should
looking.
we not have started with this one?
No, because it's still a standalone series. And we liked it, so it's a good intro
Oh
into
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. I just mean like,
But the
is
next
this not the
one,
reading order?
I don't think it matters. But this other one is it takes place in Miss Roth, which is
Hmm.
interesting. It's
And that
just
might
good
help
news.
us.
Just good news for us.
I was gonna say, then we have to read all of them. Oh no. I was gonna say she has quite a few books
And it
out.
looks like, oh no, never mind. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean my main summary for it is low stupid. She has she
I thought you said you liked her and
sorry,
you
hold on.
related to her.
Absolutely. She has troubled past, and she is misguided by cute boy. Okay.
Yeah.
Jaylee is very clever. Troubled mommy.
Is she? She's clever, but like
She's
she kind of
clever.
has like a royalty privilege complex
Oh
going
yeah.
on, and she like thinks like she thinks she's clever, and then like she isn't always as clever as she thinks she is.
I think she's clever enough to like those who don't give her the power. She's not clever to Covey because Covey is very smart. But I would say because people already think that not she's scum because of her race, that she cuts above that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But she's a lot more clever than Lo is in my mind, as far as the things that she does and the executions that she does. Like, or not executions of people, but like what she actually gets done. I think that she's a lot more smart about her future than Lo seems to be. Because I don't know how you can go like the thing that kind of confused me was like how you go from being an empress murderer to being then like a pious nun, and then
I
you
don't know. I've never been there.
kind of like fall into
PTSD.
a weird rebellion type thing. I don't know. I just felt like her story was way more like I'd like to see more from her in the next one. It basically was like chalked down to like I have this scar I don't like. Nobody likes me, and I also don't like anybody. So I'm not gonna do anything but just be a nun.
And that's
And
not
Jaylee's like, I
entirely
hate
true because
everyone. I want to get out of here.
she's still going out and doing stuff and like helping people. It
Oh,
was
she's
really just
nice.
both sides are just really pro their people. Like they
Yeah,
want to help their people.
yeah. She does good things for people, and she like cares for them. I just mean that like she doesn't try to do anything to get herself out of like she's kind of resigned to her lifestyle when
Yeah,
we
and
first meet her.
I think that's why she in the end leaves and questions throughout like was I too young when I joined? Like what am I missing?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where that comes into play. And
It
like I
should.
said, YA is if it's done well, in my opinion, YA is like most enjoyed when
Mm-hmm.
they do grow into
Oh yeah, we're gonna
their
see. We should see
adulthood.
at least
And it's like you
some
have to
good
start
growth
somewhere
from
if you're
them.
going to grow. So,
Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like it was very interesting view of her being like I slayed an empress,
don't
and now
tell.
yeah, I don't know. If I slayed an empress, I'd be like freaking proud of it and be a little bit more of a badass than I think that
And I think
Lo ends up being, which is total room for growth. But I just felt like her point of view or like what she got up to was not as well, obviously because she like doesn't want to do violence and stuff.
I thought it
It
was
wasn't as gripping as Jaylee's was for me.
yeah, I thought it was a slight character flaw. Um when like she devotes her whole life to in some regard, any regard, not just the nun, but she devotes her life to helping her people and her people want her to be a figurehead for her people and she says, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because they're not
That's kind
asking
of
you
like
to like
I'm
kill
like, oh,
yourself
you
or
were
like
given opportunity
sacrifice.
to kind of like
Just a figurehead.
atone. Yeah, you're kind of like given an opportunity to atone for the atrocities you think you committed,
Yeah.
even though you saved your people. I guess she doesn't have a savior complex for something that may have warranted it at the time.
That's
Like,
fine. It's
you know what I mean?
just doing this
She
one,
doesn't
just
take it.
appearing as a figure will help your
Yeah,
people, and you won't do that. Because like
yeah,
they
no,
had said like essentially to be a ruler, and she's like, no, that's a lot of responsibility. I don't want to be
right.
liable for that. And they're like, fine, just appear as one. And she's like, no, even
No,
if it will
that's
help
like
my people, no.
goes against my
That's
religion.
where I draw the line.
Yeah, I was perplexed by her character, and I'm hoping for a lot more growth from her. I felt like we got a lot of growth from Jaylee. Not all of it for sure, but we got a lot more because of this of her struggles being like gaslit by her mother, then
Yeah.
by the courts of biased elders, then by the freaking goddess of death,
Yeah.
then by you know what I mean? Like she has so many forces
She's
against her.
starting to
I
think
think that
on her own,
it
and
was
that's where the growth
interesting
is coming
to
in.
have Lowe's issues be boy cute. This is really reductive, but boy cute, religion good. Like she really didn't have too many. Because like you killed the empress. Like you did that for your people. You should be proud of it if it's the right thing to do. But like I don't know, she didn't really. She wrestled with that, but it wasn't like a driving plot point for her. No one really felt or found out about it except for Calcium and crew. Like I don't know, it wasn't as big of a deal as I thought it maybe should have been.
That's why I'm a
Because
little hesitant on the coup part because it's like I think people would
yeah, I
know
don't know. I'll
that it
have
was
to.
her. But I don't know.
If we read the second book, I'll rehash what happened in
If
the.
we read the second book,
When we read the second
I'm
book,
reading
I'll
the
have to
second book,
right now
and the third book, and the fourth book,
and all the other books. No, what I'm saying is I'll have to rehash what happened in the beginning of this book because I think it was caught in the middle of the world building,
yeah,
and
I
I don't think it
agree.
was really
Just like when I went
fully.
back to chapter 5 and I'm like, oh.
Because then I'm like, are we supposed to hate these people, or are we supposed to hate like who?
Yeah.
Who are you talking to right now? That's how I felt.
Yeah.
Like who is this? Who am I supposed to be going for? And what did they do? Because you can clearly tell that the Empress was actually like tyrannical, but you don't know why the elders are not sticking up for.
Why they suck at their job.
Yeah, why they stuck at their job, why they're not sticking up for the other Elranians that they clearly took over, but for like what reason other than slave uprising. They didn't really like. We're fuzzy on the details as to what happened that night.
Yeah.
So I'm not too sure.
Which is why I wanted to start the second book. I want to know what happens.
And that's a sign of a good book to me.
Yeah.
It did exactly what it needed to. I was like, I finished the book on audio, and then I kind of just like sat there for like 5 minutes being like, now what do I do? Not so much like book slumpy, but like, well, I might as well just jump right into the next one. Like that's
exactly. That's why I messaged you.
It's gonna be on my October TBR for sure.
That's when I messaged you. Was when I finished. I was like, I want to pick
You're like,
up
"I
the
need
second
this."
one.
Yeah, to Sleepy was like, I want to be in this world with these
More.
characters. I want to like see them grow. Yeah, I don't know. I'm totally pro YA for good writers. I know it can be hard with indie for sure because it can feel more middle grade than anything.
Yeah, I think
But
that's
I even
where
thought
the
that this
issue
was
comes in.
there was noted gore
Yeah.
and it was pretty graphic, and then the like themes were also pretty like
Deep.
heavy as far as racial disparity, just outright racism towards each other, bigotry. Like there was a lot of dark themes, and it was not ever brushed over. Like
Correct.
there wasn't a
It was
moment where
real.
we were it wasn't a moment where we were all
Was not
lottie
watered
dying.
down.
Like no. No, everyone actively hates each other, and everyone was actively like violent towards each other. So it'll just be interesting to see if this third element that came in at the end of the book heals or further destroys
It's definitely
that,
going
and
to
like
change the dynamic.
what their intentions are there. Because as far as we're concerned, as far as like what we were given in the book, we don't know why certain kingdoms were conquered and why certain ones weren't.
Yeah.
So we'll get to find that out soon when we pick up the second book.
I'm excited.
So excited. Yeah. Like and follow. Subscribe. I've never had to do this before.
See you next time.
See you next time. Bye.